Well, I think that I had to found music instead of music finding me. Yeah, yeah. I think that, in fact, I was not thinking to the music. Always music had a great part also when I was little. When I was a little baby, always I liked to sing and so on, but I arrived very, very late to the world of music. And still 17 years old, I didn't know anything about music. But then, in 3 years, I was playing as a soloist in Salzburg Festspiele, as a soloist with a flute, and it was a thing that I could not expect. Music came to me in a funny way, passing through the rock music, classic music, and came through the rock music to me. I was a fan, obviously, during the 70s of all the great groups like Jethro Tull, all these Genesis and so on. There was inside this famous rock group, Jethro Tull, Jan Anderson, this very known flutist in the rock world, and I would like to imitate him. And since this thing, I started to be involved, and I discovered classic music, and was like a little bit, to me, the discovery of the classic music was like the same thing of St. Paul on the way to Damascus, was like to find the light, you know? Or if you want, like a little bit the Blues Brothers, when he found in the church, he said, oh yes, I have to have the band, and there is the light coming from the God who was giving to him the light. For me, it was really a shining thing, this thing, can we say in English?
What was the moment then? What was the moment?
I was around 17, it was 77, so 1977. And it was a moment very hard of my life. Was a moment in which we had terrorism in Italy, we had the Red Brigades. In the school we were all with politics, all dressed with like Che Guevara, and so we were all very involved, the idea of revolution for a new world and so on. So it was a hard moment. But this thing gave to me, this feeling gave to me, this moment gave to me a lot of great, thing inside, dark thing inside. So it was a hard moment. Was the moment of in Italy in which the drug started to be very, very strong inside. Also the school. So was tough. And this was a hard moment. And in this hard moment, this gray moment of my life, I had the chance to discover music. And it was a strong thing. I was considered an old prodige, vieille prodige, instead of enfant prodige. And was a thing that I didn't expect. I entered inside one of the most important orchestras of Italy and Europe, I Solisti Veneti, and I started to be a soloist with them after 2 years and a half that I was playing the flute and the music. And then I won the competition to enter inside the Conservatory of Paris. I was the first Italian who won the competition to inside the Conservatory of Paris, and that's it. And this was like a great, sea ocean which came to me and involved and took hold of my life. And I think that, by the way, was something which gave to me obviously a meaning to my life. That's the thing. I didn't want to be a conductor at all, but after one concert in Florence, Fabio Luisi has to conduct this concert in the Maggio Musicale Fiorentino with a new concert who was written for me by an Italian important composer. I remember that I met Fabio in the studio of my father. My father was a painter, and we were there studying this score together. Then he was sick, and we found at the last moment Piero Bellugi, who substituted him. And Piero Bellugi was one of the greatest teachers of conducting in Italy. And I asked to Piero at the end of this concert, as a soloist in Florence, if he could give to me some advice. But I told him, just advice, because I will never be a conductor. I know how I treated conductors, so I don't want to be there to have all this pain and responsibility on my shoulder. And this was this went completely in the contrary, because after 6 months, I was, the same thing which happened with the flute happened to me with the conducting. They were looking for a conductor in one of the permanent orchestras of Italy, and they asked to Piero Bellugi if he could recommend some to try, somebody to try to take this position. And Piero Bellugi said, you have to try Marzio, to the artistic director. And they said, Marzio? But Marzio, who? Marzio Conti? Yes, but Marzio was just last past month doing with us a Mercadante concerto. He's a flutist, he's not a conductor. And then, no, try him, I said. And they try me and they catch me, and I immediately enter inside the world of conducting with no experience, just with some rules obviously this conductor gave to me, important conductor gave to me, and then with all my experience as a musician, which was very important, by the way, because I had the opportunity in these 20 years of flutist to play with a major soloist all over the world, and in really important place, having a lot of obviously pupil all over the world, Japan, Ireland, United States. I used to come to the United States every year, giving master classes in important cities and so on. So that's it. This was the thing which changed my life. I was always an outsider in my life. You are touching the right point of my life. I was always an outsider. I was an outsider as a flutist. I am an outsider as a conductor. That's my karma. And this is a thing which obviously I have to take care. I took care of this thing. I consider me as an outsider, but what can you do? I mean, that's in my opinion, yes, because the thing that the people doesn't feel is sometimes is how much music is a thing to share with other people. Since the beginning, I had an interview 5 years ago in Oviedo. I was principal conductor in Oviedo, and I did a lot of things in Oviedo. That's why they gave to me an important, the gold medal of the city and so on, which was a great thing for me, because I did new things over there. I share music with the hooligans of Real Oviedo, classical music. I was in the stadium with there. I involved them with us to produce some symphonic concert and in the stadium, obviously. And then one time, one journalist interviewed me, and he said, speaking on my life, he said, Maestro, what you did with your friends when you discover music, that you would like to communicate to them the beauty of classical music instead of rock music, the deepness, the mountain, this sacred mountain of classical music, to communicate this thing to your students, to your friends who were completely ignorant in this sense. You did the same thing with us. That's the reason why I was very touched by it. We love you. And this is my point, that I was always trying. I don't feel to be, I never think to, I was writing 2 days ago, because I'm writing like a diary of what happened in my life. I have a little bit more time now, and so I like to write. And it's true, one of the most funny things is that I didn't consider myself a flutist. I didn't consider myself a conductor now. Musician, probably, yes, because, but the thing with music for me was always the way to share beauty with other people. And that's the thing which gave me strength, and probably gave me also this critical view, that sometimes the people that always are inside this word, they don't have, because they don't see the weak and the point of this word, which is going to disappear, like the, you know, the white bear in the North Pole. If we don't do something, like with the climate, like with the, you know, with the changing of the weather and so on, we have to do something. It's not there because it will be there because it's just art. Make me laugh, smile when some people say, yes, but Mozart will stay always over there. Yes, Mozart will stay for us, in our opinion, now over there for the huge history of the humanity. But are we joking? I mean, Mozart, the life of Mozart with us is just three centuries. And the example I told to these people, I said, you need always to put on the fire the wood, otherwise the sacred fire, like they used to do the Vestali in the temple of Apollo. They put the fire to keep the god, the connection with the god there, with them. Otherwise, if you don't put the fire, you don't have the contact with the god. So if you don't put wood on the fire of the classic music, Mozart will disappear like Apollo. If a god can disappear, Mozart will disappear, obviously. He's not a god. And if you think that I told to this guy, but do you know something about Egyptian music? And he said, no, but you have to know that Egyptian music stayed there for 2,500 years. Do you know now? No, at all. So, I mean, disappear. So Mozart can disappear, obviously, more than Egyptian music, because it's just 300 years that we have. So we need to put the fire.
Yeah.
That's a great point. You know, nobody knows the solution. That's the point. The great point is nobody knows the solution. And people who tell you we have to do this thing because we know that this is good, normally is a fake, just to have more money, to convince politics to give money, but just for a period of 5 years. Then they will understand that this thing doesn't go. It's a deep and unknown problem at the moment. Solution, I mean, we don't have this thing. I tried in my life to have a lot of ideas, and I see that they are not working. I think that one thing that we don't consider is the speed. Speed? Yes, the speed. These were after the computer and with web and so on, is going very fast. We have to find the way, and probably this will not our generation, because we are already dinosaurs in a way, me and you, we have the same age. So I think that the new generation of the website, of the young people, all together, trying to find a way to survive, they could find through the web the answer. But it has to be a quick answer, that's my feeling, and a real deep answer, short and efficient, to arrive after, to discover that we can waste our time to listen a Brahms symphony. I don't know if I arrive to communicate to you the idea. I think that the way of doing concerts now is old. And it's old, I mean, it's a model of the beginning of the 20th century. It doesn't work anymore. We are losing this thing. I don't feel that just going like a lot of orchestra they are doing with jeans, playing Mozart, doesn't change anything, because our music has to be black, because black is neutral in a way. The dress, I mean, we have to, and because the thing we want to communicate is not the beauty of the soloist with the beautiful hair, with beautiful, you know, or beautiful women now they are playing, or it's just a fake message, because this thing arrives just to the old people. The young people doesn't look to this thing. The most important thing, that's the thing that I'm telling sometimes when I am teaching, when I am conducting or preparing orchestra, sometimes it happened to me to tell them, to the student of the orchestra, don't think that you are looking for, when I see some, you know, some bored faces a little bit because obviously they are tired, they have a lot of things to do, and I am here, I have to do also this thing. But this kind of feeling I had also with a lot of professional orchestra. And the problem we have is the communication. You can find the worst, I mean, rock, band, the worst. Bad music, bad way of singing, bad technique, awful song. But the thing which gives to them the opportunity to do something and to arrive more to the audience is that they believe deeply that this stage, this moment, they are going to be there and they will fight and to give to the audience something they like and they believe in. So sometime I noticed that, as I told to the student, don't think that you are here and you just want to arrive to in an orchestra and you will got your place and then you will stay for all your life like that. This is finished. I mean, I think that in 20, 30 years we will not anymore, we don't have anymore, apart from some sacred orchestra, permanent orchestras all over the world. It has no sense. They didn't go. When you see I think that is very important that when you see an orchestra, the last violin of the orchestra has to play with the same energy of the first violin. And also if they don't understand why, the audience feel that, the young people feel that. A lot of young people who doesn't have experience, sometimes they ask to me, but why the last violin it seems that he doesn't like the music? And this was surprising to me. How can we communicate our value if we don't believe in this value? That's the point. So as I told to the Jacob students in all these 4 years that I was here, you have to think that if you are doing music now, you will not have a sure life in music. So everybody, when one of you will catch his place, I hope in New York Philharmonic, which will be probably the orchestra, but I don't know, more stable in the 30 years, because I know that they have great trouble till now with sponsorship and so on. When you will have your permanent place, you don't have to start thinking that you have to communicate how to the music, and you have to find another way to communicate your instrument. I mean, when you got a place over there in one orchestra, you have to start thinking how I can bring this light of my instrument, of classical music, to another people, and you have to fight every day in this direction. Because if we don't work all together in this direction, our music will finish because it has no sense in a way. Permanent orchestra before the 50s, they were not permanent orchestra. I mean, before the 50s, just few, but the majority they were seasonal orchestra. That's the point. So when you will have a place, you have to think to find a way how to communicate this love and the meaning of classical music to a person which is not a musician, but is a worker on the street, because we have to conquest them. Our spot is not to speak about this thing between us, is to break the wall and go in the other side. Otherwise, we will finish, because we are few. Beauty is not mine. Beauty is just beauty. It's a state of knowledge. It's not an aesthetical point. Beauty is a state of knowledge. It's a different thing. So we can discuss on beauty, but we don't have to discuss if you feel the real meaning of beauty. You know that this is not in connection with an aesthetical point of view. There is an essential quality of beauty. That's the thing that we have to fight for. Our beauty is Mozart, our beauty is Stravinsky, our beauty is Miro, our beauty is Leonardo da Vinci, our beauty is Frank Gehry, our beauty is Woody Allen, for instance. I don't know, I mean, but this is our beauty. And we see and we know that this is Monet, Debussy. If you feel and you know that this is something great, you have to arrive to communicate to another person who never had contact with this kind of word. So the thing that every student in Jacob School of Music has to do every day, not just thinking, when I will have the place in this position, I will do that. When I will have in this place in this position, I have to know, like now, how to communicate to a person, to discover how to communicate to another culture, another man who never had the opportunity to stay in our world, our beauty, our love for this world. This is the most important thing. Otherwise, we will not have audience. It's not a philosophical thing. We will just play for this fee. I mean, but we will not be paid. So we have to find another work. So if you want to work, I tell them, if you want to have the bread with music, start thinking how we can survive every day, because the red alarm starts 50 years ago.